Well, here we are starting another restoration series. And today, look what I have brought home. Yep, a 1988 Williams Banzai Run. Larry DeMar and Pat Lawler design. And yeah, this is a grail pin for me. I mean, it's one that I've always liked and played on location when I was able to find one. Played a couple on location around here in Europe and also one in the States. But yeah, they don't come up very often. There were only 1,700 of them made. And this thing popped up on a Belgian classifieds forum that I follow, looking at pinball. And yeah, reached out to the guy, was one of the first people to put in a decent bid, and he accepted the bid. And I went out there after work today. It was out towards Antwerp, Belgium, about a 2-hour drive for me. And oh man, it was on the second floor of his house. It had been, he had bought it for his son like 20 years ago when his son was younger. And it had been up there for 20 years, and his son had now grown, and he's like 25, 26, something like that, and had moved out, bought a house, and didn't want the game, didn't want the machine, didn't have room for it. And his dad and his they had him and his wife, they had finally decided that they were going to sell the machine. And yeah, went and grabbed it. It was like I said, it was up this narrow staircase in this attic bedroom, and man, I did not think it was going to come out of that room, and it just barely did. It was really a bear getting it out. But so what's the condition of the machine? Well, I always say like the good, the bad, and the ugly. That the good is the cabinet is in great shape, as are the boards. I'll pull the upper playfield off here, and we can take a look at the boards. There's a GI connector that's burned up. That's pretty standard. But the back glass here is in great shape. This is glass, back glass, and I don't see any damage to it whatsoever. It looks to be really, really in good shape. The side art is fantastic. The actual cabinet itself, there's a little bit of a ding up here in the top corner, which I could probably patch that and repaint that. But the artwork on the side is really great, and the actual cabinet itself, it looks like maybe there was a little bit of a scuff here, but I'll take a magic eraser and some simple green or alcohol and go over this and try to clean that up. And he did say that he had bought it 20 years ago from a guy who got it from a bar, so it was operated. It's got these homemade kind of coin inserts here, so I'll probably replace that with something else. But it was operated in Belgium, and actually the goodie bag, I found the goodie bag inside of it over here. Actually, it had the original manual, and that was pretty cool. And it had this this paperwork inside of it that showed that it was sold by CV Brabant AMI. CV, I believe, is the Dutch term for business. I don't remember what it stands for. AMI sounds like AMI was like a company that operated bowling alleys, and maybe that's related. I don't know. I'll have to look that up. But anyway, so they were the kind of the settings that it should be set to operate. And yeah, there was a goodie bag in here that had like bulbs and crap like that in it, So, but what was I going to get at? Well, so overall the cabinet itself is in really good shape. And oh, I know what I was going to say. Inside the goodie bag, there was actually some inserts for the coin door here. That probably came from Williams, and I guess they were never used because they say like 25 cents push to reject and token, So maybe I'll find something like that, and or I could use these. But the thing was operated over here probably with Belgian francs at the time. But in any case, Yeah, like I said, the side art looks really good. The cabinet, a little bit of black here. I don't know if that was some overspray or they tried to paint something with a spray can. I'll have to try to fix that. But yeah, so the actual playfields itself, it looks pretty good. Obviously, it's really dirty. This upper playfield obviously has a lot of dirt here. You know, I'll have to strip everything off of it and clean it like I always do. The white is, you know, it's yellowed. It's more of like an off-white or a tan color now. I see some of these reproduction playfields and the playfield white is like white. I mean, it really stands out. And it doesn't bother me to actually have this color. It actually matches like the trees and stuff here. So, but I'll go through and clean this and we'll see how, you know, how good I can get it. The main playfield itself has Mylar on it. And the good is that I don't see any playfield damage. I don't see any wear. But it's really dirty. Obviously, you know, it's kind of how I like to buy machines. Actually, is kind of these forgotten machines that are kind of left to languish and nobody really played it because, you know, it was, you know, the rubbers are pretty beat up. You can see here, you know, if I pull on this, it's just going to break completely. You can see how dry rotted these rubbers are and the flippers. Everything works in the game, but obviously it hasn't really been played that much in a long time. So, you know, this will need to be cleaned. The Mylar will. The Mylar is lifting up here and these inserts are actually raised slightly. So that's going to be a challenge for me. I've never actually fixed inserts that were raised before. I've done a lot of Mylar work. And I'm afraid to pull the Mylar off on this machine. You know, recently I pulled Mylar off of my Pinbot, and my Pinbot is from '86. And I was successful at pulling all the Mylar off the Pinbot, and I did not lose a single speck of paint. So is it possible that I could pull the Mylar off of this Banzai Run and not lose paint? I don't know. The great thing is that I see sometimes, or in the forums, where some people have lost artwork on the inserts, and all of the inserts still have the text on there. So even back here, up above where the Mylar, because the Mylar stops right here. So even at the top here, they all still have their the text on there. These inserts are raised, it's probably about half a millimeter or so. And it's super dirty back here. So obviously it'll all need to be stripped out. This ramp looks okay. I don't see any cracks. It's just really dirty, obviously. So I'll have to take it and scrub it. I don't see any cracks here. Now, there is a ramp, a subway ramp behind the upper playfield that goes from here and here down to the bottom and drains the ball here, and then it ends up back in the main playfield. This ramp is cracked down here at the bottom. You can probably maybe even see that. I don't know if I can. Yeah, I can pull the playfield down and we can take a look at that, but it is definitely cracked. So I'll pull that upper playfield down and we'll look. But yeah, so I got to figure out what I'm going to do with the Mylar. But, you know, I'll start to strip this down. This plastic here is cracked, you know, the handlebars. So the company over here, Pinball Center in Germany, pinballcenter.de, they sell plastic sets for a lot of machines. And you can buy the individual pieces one by one. So instead of having to buy the whole set, you know, like unfortunately Marco Specialties in the States, that's what I find a lot of times is you got to buy the whole set of plastics. When I rebuilt my haunted house over there, I bought the replacement set from Marco's, but pretty much all the plastics in that thing were destroyed, so I needed the whole set. But other games like Creature, I only needed one or two plastics, and I was able to buy them from Pinball Center, which is really great. So definitely check them out, and they do ship to the States if you need. if you're going to order from there. So all these inserts are also raised slightly. So I think the way you can fix these is to heat the adhesive up with a heat gun from underneath and then put pressure on these and reseat them. All these are raised. Yeah, these are all flat. These are all flat. It's strange that some of them raise up and some of them don't. I don't know why. So, yeah, but you know how it goes. We get everything off and then it'll really tell us a lot more. And yeah, we just start cleaning it up like we always do. And obviously I'm going to have to get my working area here sorted out. The problem with this machine is, if you haven't noticed, my ceiling in this house is really low in this basement room. And that's going to be a problem for Banzai Run. Now, right now it's sitting on my transport cart, and I have it lowered down so that I was able to get the back box up, and it's actually low enough that I can even open the upper section here. I can lock this in place. Yeah. So you see that right now the machine is about 5 inches lower than it would normally be, or a little bit more than 10 centimeters, 12 centimeters lower than it would normally be. And you can see that that thing barely clears the ceiling. So bottom line is, I think when the legs are installed on this machine, I might not be able to raise that anymore. So I hope I don't have to get in this back box. I need to really go through these boards and make sure that things are legit back here, because I might have a problem where I either can't raise this thing up all the way, or maybe I can only raise it slightly. Maybe I can make a prop rod or something and I can get this thing lifted up high enough that I could get the glass out. That would be cool if I could do that. The problem is to get to like the display boards up here, and you know, the soundboard or the power supply, that kind of stuff. I'll have to have this all the way up, so I'll have to figure that out. But yeah, super cool game, and I'm super excited. I have the back glass, the upper back glass here. Excuse me. The Playfield glass, the upper Playfield glass. It's not back glass. I have that here, and it looks pretty good. Maybe the colors are a little bit faded, but you know, it'll need to be cleaned up, and you know, it looks to be that there's some UV bleaching that's probably happened. But after we get it cleaned up and we get some proper nice sunlight white LEDs in the game, I think we can bring some of this color back. Maybe I'll have to use some color LEDs. I don't normally like to do that, but I might have to do it here and there just to get some highlights of color that I'm after. So anyway, yeah, I figured I'd record the condition of it, and maybe I can raise this playfield here one-handed. And we can kind of see what we're looking at underneath. It's a System 11, you know, it's an 11B, I think. And, you know, it's pretty clean down here. Not a whole lot of wear down here where the coin box would go. So it doesn't look like it got operated too long. And the bottom of the playfield looks pretty good. You know, it's a little bit dirty up here where people have raised it, but everything looks in pretty good shape. And I don't see really any hacking going on. So, you know, this should be pretty easy, you know, to go through. And, you know, it's got 6 flippers, so we'll have to rebuild the flippers. Maybe they've been rebuilt at some point. They don't look too awful bad. Sorry, the camera was way off base there. They don't look too awful bad, so have to look at those and see. Yeah, so, okay, well, I'll pull the upper playfield down and we'll take a look at the boards. All right, we got the upper playfield, backbox playfield rotated. So you can see here, you know, this is the motor that raises and lowers the magnet that pulls the ball up into the upper playfield area. You can see this upper ramp is pretty nasty, pretty dingy. It's cracked right here. and it's really cracked at the bottom. It looks like somebody has actually riveted a metal piece onto the bottom to try to save that ramp. It's been repaired in the past. So they do make a replacement for this ramp. It's about $100, I think, maybe a little bit more. So when I get it out, I'll have to figure out if I'm just going to replace this ramp or replace the main ramp too. I have a feeling I'm just going to replace this one. Main ramp didn't look too bad. Flippers up here. You know, I see, not really much wear, or not much free play, I see. I'll probably rebuild them anyway, but they don't look too bad. Here's the little plunger that's supposed to pop out. Yeah, it's got a similar mechanism that that Radical uses for the diverter. That's the same identical mechanism here, because I just finished rebuilding my Radical that I got, and so I'll have to pull that apart and clean that and put a little bit of grease, silicone on that. So the boards, if I can get my light here. The boards look really good. I only saw one or two little areas. The power supply's never been rebuilt. Those are original caps on there, and the fuse and diode board looks good. No issues there that I see. I did notice that it looked like one of these relay or resistor banks failed at some point, and they replaced it with a bunch of resistors there. I guess that works, but maybe I can find that part and pull the board off and fix that. They have done some work to the board in the past. I can see that a couple of these, I think this is a flip-flop, 7407 right here. Two of them have been changed and socketed. The great thing is that there were still batteries installed, old batteries, but there's no alkaline damage to the board at all. So I got super lucky there with this board, because I had I've had battery acid damage a lot, alkaline damage a lot, unfortunately. Down here on the relay board, there's a GI connector completely burned up. You can see that. So that relay board will have to come out, and a new connector and new header on the board. Hopefully easy fix on the board. Hopefully there's not too much trace damage to that, and we can get that back in. It looks like somebody's had this out before. I see some screws missing on this relay board, so they actually soldered some wires directly to it. I can see some little plastic wire splices down there that they've used. So yeah, typical stuff when it's got the incandescent bulbs in it. So yep, pretty standard. So okay, well, that's a pretty good introduction for where we started, and keep up with the channel here, and I'll make videos as I go along and get this thing torn down and really start to understand what we got ahead of us. I do now have an ultrasonic cleaner that I bought, so maybe some of the stuff I can resurrect and throw in there and brighten it up. And yeah, I'm pretty excited about this game. It's got potential, and I'm happy to rescue it out of that guy's attic. It was going to sit there and languish forever, so soon enough, just like all the other machines, it'll be in the lineup here. So stay tuned for more about the Banzai Run.